500th episode of the Good Dram Show with me, Chris Goodrum. Yeah, another milestone along the way. So obviously last year it was the 10th anniversary of the show, and obviously today the 500th anniversary, which is really cool. So big thank you to everybody that watched last week's episode of the show, has watched all, or as many as possible, of the other 498 episodes of the show that I've done over the years. Yeah, so really cool. So I thought today, being a very special episode of the show, I would do some more firsts. So firstly, it's Chris Goodrum does good rum. Firstly, yeah, so it's obviously the 500th episode of the show. It's the first time I've ever had some samples from the independent bottling company Dram Mor, so big thank you to Victoria for those samples. So 3 from them, 4, sorry, from them, and also, as you can see, 3 samples from the House of Macduff. Again, another first, their first series of single cask rum bottling. So yeah, this is all incredibly brand spanking new, and yeah, I think a fitting lineup for the 500th episode of the show. So not going to waffle too much, as I've got one more sample than I would normally do on an episode of the show. So I'm just going to crack on and introduce the lineup. Right, okay, so we're going to start with the Dram Mor. This is from the Diamond Distillery in Guyana. It's 10 years old, a single bourbon, first fill bourbon cask, 20893, distilled in 2011 and bottled last year. Then we're going to move on to another bottling from Dram Mor. This is called the Secret Guatemalan, 10-year-old, i.e. as in the secret is that they haven't really said what the distillery is. Probably the only one I can think of off the top of my head from Guatemala is Darsa, so possibly from there. It's an ex-bourbon cask, 1724, like I said, 10 years old, distilled in 2012, bottled in 2022 at 57.3%. Don't know if I mentioned the ABV of the Diamond, that's 55%. Moving on, the third bottling, quite an interesting one, because it's 60.9%. I mean, you know, at 13, I hasten to add. So this is the Dram Mor Foursquare, obviously from Barbados. It's 13 years old, distilled in 2009, bottled in 2022. Ex-bourbon cask, cask number 3 apparently. I always wonder about these sort of cask numberings, whether they are the distillery's numberings, whether they're the sort of the independent bottlers company's numberings. I mean, because obviously Foursquare have long since gone beyond 3 casks, but so you know, I wonder whether it was the 3rd cask of 2009, possibly. I don't know. Anyway, it's spent I think 8 years maturing in Barbados and 5 years here in the UK. So really looking forward to that. Always enjoy a good Foursquare. And talking of which, I have another one. So this is the first of the House of Macduff Golden Cask samples. So a 15-year-old Foursquare, bottled at not much below the previous one at 58%. It's a single bourbon barrel. The code that they've given it is CR001, so that's definitely their numbering system. Like I said, distilled in 2007 and bottled this year, I believe. Then back to the final sample from Dram Mor. This is a secret Fijian distillery. It's an 18-year-old, again bottled at 58%. Notice I have my butt well and truly filled to overflowing. Never tire of that joke. So ex-bourbon cask 1789. Yeah, sorry, puerility reigns here this afternoon, or this morning as the case may be. So yeah, ex-bourbon cask 1789, distilled in 2004, bottled last year. Then we're going to move on to the second of the golden cask samples. This is from Port Morant in Guyana. Now this is obviously 20 years old, but not from the Port Morant distillery. It was distilled at Diamond on the double wooden pot still that came from the distillery. So it's a single bourbon barrel CR002, bottled at 48.7, like I said, distilled in 2002 and bottled at some time this year. And the final, turn it around so you can see the label. As you can see, I don't actually have enough bloody glasses, so I'll recycle the first one, you know. So the penultimate is the oldest rum sample that I have, again from the Golden Cask range. This is from Moni Musk in Jamaica. It's 22 years old, distilled in 2000, bottled earlier this year. Single bourbon barrel, code CR003. So hopefully you think this is going to be really intriguing. I'm really looking forward to it. I have tasted these all already, but you know, good rum. I'm not going to let that go to waste, am I? Right, okay, so let's start with the 10-year-old Diamond then. Let's see what the nose gives us on this then, shall we? Light, intense, I would guess probably all column still. I don't know if they pre-vat before going into cask. I honestly don't know, but certainly this has this quite high toned dried fruit, vanilla, macerated apricot, lime, juicy citrus. There's almost a sort of tamarindy kind of note, touch of molasses. Maybe it's got some weight, and it kind of feels like it might have some pot still weight, so it's possible, although I find it difficult to believe, given the vast number of stills that Diamond has, that they actually blend before putting into cask. I could well be wrong. I mean, I know sort of Foursquare do that, but then they only have a column and a pot, so you know, it's a little bit more simpler. And obviously, as we know, the Diamond range, each of the individual age statement bottlings is effectively a different makeup of casks and stills, so one would imagine that this is just straight off the column still. And it's a lovely nose, elegant, it's got weight, nice dried fruit, sort of grainy, vanilla. Yeah, it's just a lovely nose. Let's see what the pass right. Quite grippy. You can feel the alcohol masking the finish. Juicy, quite fleshy to start off with. Apricot, banana, both ripe and underripe banana. Slightly herbal. Again, that sort of light column still dried fruit, quite grippy, a little bit of citrus, quite tannic, and the combination of the tannins and more so the alcohol is really kind of masking that finish. But it's got, again, a lovely weight to it, really nice complexity. The retail price is 54, which I think is pretty good value. I mean, yes, all right. You know, we aren't going to get 10-year-old spirits now for less than 50 quid. It ain't going to happen. Certainly not sort of cask strength rum. So I think it's a good value. Let's see what the nose is like now. We've got some dilution. Not quite so herbal, a little bit more oak forward, touch creamier, maybe not quite so complex, but again still got that lovely sort of light dried fruits, a little bit of coconut now. So yeah, it's definitely emphasising the oak. You can smell it's now a first fill bourbon barrel, but appealing. I enjoy it. I think this is lovely. Let's see what the power's on. Like the nose, it's kind of brought out a bit more of the oak character. It's creamier, it's softer, it's not quite got this the sort of citric acidity, I mean, it's pleasant. Personally, I prefer that neat. I mean, you know, I can live with the fact that the finish is a little bit masked because it has sort of like so much more spirit intensity. But either way, I think that is a lovely rum, a good rum. Ooh. Right, okay, let's move on to the second of the two, the second of the Dram Mor bottlings. This is the 10-year-old Guatemalan. Now, definitely darker than the Guyanan. A lot more pungent, sort of dark, smoky, raisinated fruit, earth, burnt wood, a little bit of potpourri. Wood smoke, ginger, black fruit. Oh, this is a stunning nose. It is gorgeous. A little bit of black coffee as well. Not a great deal of oak, so probably a fairly well used cask. A little bit of coffee. 57.3%, but certainly the nose has not given me any alcohol prickle whatsoever. This is just lovely, and it does kind of remind me a bit of the couple of bottlings of Darsa that I have tasted in the past, and there is a slightly woodier, sort of darker spirit. So I'm guessing pot still molasses based, but either way, oh, it's a lovely nose. So pass on. Slightly masked, but oh, that finish is wonderfully spicy. Ginger, oh, ginger biscuits. Yeah, so again, like the nose, quite dark, quite woody, molasses, dark fruits, earth, mushrooms. Got that, just a little bit of mushroomy funk. Black cherry. Again, not a huge amount of oak character, so you're getting lovely purity of the spirit. Like I said, it's a little bit masked, slightly herbal aftertaste, but I really like that intensity. That is very, very good. And now this is hitting the shelves a little bit more expensive than the Diamond. This is 71, and again, yep, I'm quite happy with that. Still quite dark on the nose. A little bit more aromatic, maybe a little bit more smokier, a little lighter. There's possibly a touch of sort of like the more sultanery kind of dried fruits coming through. A touch of coconut now. Personally, again, I think I prefer the nose neat, but you know, that's still a very good nose. So pass like that. Longer, succulent, juicy, fruity. Again, maybe taking the edge slightly off the complexity. Not quite so smoky, not quite so dark. A shade lighter now, but a lovely rum. That has got a gorgeous length to it. Yeah, more than happy with that. Right, okay, so let's move on to the 13-year-old Foursquare. Let's see what the nose gives us on this then, shall we? Oh, that's a tight nose. I mean, that is tight. I mean, well, not surprised considering it's 60.9%. I mean, I'm really having to work at it, but it is kind of classic woody Foursquare. Quite a lot of molasses, pot still weight, wood spice, smoke, charred wood, a little bit of sort of lighter dried column still fruit, some banana, green banana, melon. I mean, but it's really, really tight. I mean, it's kind of, you really have to work this nose, as they say, as opposed to working that booty, as they say. But it's just absolutely classic Foursquare. Absolute classic, spot on. Now, I would tell you how much this retails for, but there ain't any more stock of it, so not much point is there. Let's see what parts like. Intense, spicy, again woody, dark fruits, molasses, weight, heavy pot still weight. The finish is quite masked, which is not a surprise. But I'll tell you what, that alcohol is very, very well contained. I mean, it doesn't kind of hit you right from the word go. It only really comes through on the finish. A little bit of vanilla, some sort of dried tropical fruits. But it's that spiciness is just absolutely stunning, really stunning. Let's put a little drop of water with it, although you could probably put quite a serious amount of water with that. It hasn't really changed the nose at all. It's still classic sort of woody, pot still, weighty, Foursquare, intense, spicy. It's kind of, yeah, it's going, give me water, put loads of water with me and I ain't going to change one little bit, and it hasn't. Maybe a touch more oak. I'm getting a little bit of vanilla and a little bit of coconut now, possibly. See what the pulse like now. Still woody, still spicy, not as masked now. Got a lovely chocolatey note coming through, dark chocolate. Just carries on in that wonderful spicy woody kind of dark fruit manner. I mean that just stunning. I mean, you know, it's a great cask, and you know, just goes to show that sort of, you know, Foursquare just produces some amazing rum, it has to be said. Right, okay, so obviously not one but two bottlings of Foursquare. So this is the 15-year-old in the Golden Cask series. Let's see what the nose gives us on this end, shall we? Oh, stunning, absolutely stunning. Juicy, slight sort of tropical syrup coated fruit, tropical dried apricot, melon, guava, lime. I mean, fruit monster, but not a confected fruit monster. It's still got that darker weightiness behind it. It's got that sort of woodiness, that sort of dark gingery, spicy, dark chocolate tannins. But wow, fruit, an incredible amount of fruit. Some coconut, some toasty oak, a little bit of leather, aniseed, cumin. Yeah, cumin. Wow, complexity off the scale. Now it's not a cheap bottle. It's 104 quid, and you're probably going, how much for a 15-year-old rumber? My God, you get a hell of a lot for your money, I can tell you that for a start. Oh, spicy, woody, intense, and yet, all right, almost approaching 60%, but you really don't smell the alcohol. It is just so well contained. Let's see what the pants like. %. That is softer than a baby's bottom, it has to be said. I'm getting, a little bit of mouth-watering juiciness on the finish, but no masked, no masking. It's just long, juicy, loads and loads of fruit, quite woody, a lot more woodier than the nose, but it's kind of classic Foursquare. Spicy, dark chocolate, wood smoke, raisin, dried melon, a touch of tar, earth, a little bit of ginger. Oh my God, it's stunning. It really is stunning. I mean, you know, if you love good rum, well, I love good rum, funny that, that is stunning. That is just unbelievably good. Let's put a little drop of water. I don't think it's going to need an awful lot. It doesn't actually need any water, so I don't really need to do this too. Again, not really a great deal of change. Maybe I'm getting a little bit more of the sort of the column still notes, a little bit more wood smoke possibly, a touch more toasty oak maybe. Still bloody good. See what the pulse like. Oh, is that juicy? Juicy, even longer. maybe it's not quite so complex. It's kind of, I suppose, a sort of a bit of a payoff for sort of like just softening it a little bit if it is too intense for you at our strength. But wow, that is stunning. I mean, that is stunning rum. I mean, I just can't say it enough. And wow. Right, okay, so let's move on to the Fijian. I've probably done it a bit of a disservice, I think, coming after that. I really do apologise, but anyway, I'll be as non-judgmental, or judgmental as the case may be, as possible. Mellow, fleshy, soft, quite almost honeyed. I mean, it's got a lovely sweetness. There's a little bit of burnt wood. There's a little bit of an astringent, almost coastally kind of green astringent fruit. A little bit of herbs, some pulped white fruit. It's soft. It's lovely. It's nice. It's nice. It's £115. Is it £115 nice? I kind of I really did and ah about it, because there's no doubt about this is a lovely bottle of rum, or a lovely nose, and it's got some good complexity, but you know, it's just wasn't totally sure. Again, 58%, and I cannot smell the alcohol at all. It's so well contained. Let's see what the parts are. Soft, generous, dried fruit. It's got that sort of hinting at a little bit of age, a little bit of oxidation, some herbal spice. It's got a lovely sweet sour balance to it. There's a touch of coconut, a little bit of vanilla, some a little bit of spice. It's nice. It's pleasant, and I just didn't really think it was going. It's, you know, if somebody said to me, "I want to buy a bottle of rum, blow me away, £100." I'm afraid I wouldn't be going for this. It just doesn't blow me away just enough to sort of go £115. Obviously, I know why it's £115 because it's old. You know, it's 20 odd years old. You know, or almost. But I'm just not totally convinced. I just think that is just a little bit overpriced. If that was in the 80s, maybe. I would probably be happier. I would probably be more than happy to sort of sell that at sort of an £80 odd bottle of rum. But 115, I just don't think it really has the complexity to carry that price tag. And you know, that's not being disingenuous. The amount of times I've tasted spirits, any spirits, and just questioned sort of, you know, what I would have to retail it for, and is it worth what I would have to retail it for? And sometimes it just comes back as, yeah, it isn't. It's a good spirit, but it ain't worth it. Right, okay, so let's move on to the Port Morant from Guyana. Let's see what the nose goes on. This is 20 odd years old, or it is 20 exactly. Oh, that's typical Guyana. Oh, that's funky and herbal, astringent, nettles, tobacco leaf, herbal spice. It has Guyana stamped all over it. I mean, you know, more so than the diamond at the beginning. I mean, I remember sort of like when I first started tasting rums, Guyanan rums just blew me away. I mean, because they just have this herbal, funky kind of astringent green fruit, green peppercorn, mushroom, earth. But it's not hard going funk like, say, Hampton. Yes, it's a natural rum. It's very of its place, I think. It's not as woody as I was expecting. A lot of the Port Morant, because it's distilled on the wooden pot stills, does give it a woodiness to it, even though they've been used, you know, for donkey's years, and one imagines have become relatively inert to a certain extent. But I've often found the Port Morant tends to be a little bit woodier, and I'm just getting so much kind of green, funky, oily character more spirit character than anything else. I love this. This is insane. It's 140 quid a bottle, and probably you're going to go, ooh, 140 quid, but oh, if you want some interest and some intrigue and a little bit of funkiness, yeah, this is your baby. Let's see what the pass on. Green, herbal, astringent, intense, funky, almost agricole, green tobacco leaf, herbs, pepper, mushroom, green pepper, or green peppercorn, but underneath all of that is some lovely weight of fruit. There's some almost kind of fleshy apricot, almost kind of tropical notes underpinning all of that. It's not one dimensional. If it was just all about the herbal green funkiness, then I wouldn't be impressed, because it's just a bit of a one-trick pony. But this has definitely got some weight to it, some complexity, some fruit underneath it, and it all just underpins all that wonderful weirdness. I'm going to put a little drop of water with it, but even so, 58%, and it's not masked. It's just so gorgeous in essence. And let's put a little drop of water with it now. It's very much the same. It didn't really need the water, it has to be said. It's still quite green, quite funky and intense. A little bit more mentholated now, possibly. Let's see what passes up. Actually, I've just realised it's not 58%, it's 48%. Again, not a real change with water, it's still pretty much the same. A little bit more spicier, possibly. A little bit more grippier. Some licorice notes coming out now, still quite herbal, still got that lovely underpinning fruitiness. That's a good rum. That's a very good rum. That's a very good rum. I like that. Right, okay, and on to the final rum of the afternoon. Yes, it's actually afternoon, just about. Let's see what the nose gives us on the 22-year-old Monymusk. Another high ester rum, almost agricole, green banana, potpourri, pepper, peppery spice, lime, tamarind again. Intense, juicy. It's kind of what I love about Jamaica is that you have such a broad range of rums produced on the island. So you have things like at the Hampton at one end of the spectrum, and at the other end you have Ray and Nephew, and the sort of, so you kind of like go from the sort of real weird and funky right the way through to sort of like the broad and juicy and the fruity styles, and Monymusk sits in the middle, I would say. It displays some of that style. I mean, it kind of goes sort of, to me, kind of Monymusk, then sort of Worthy Park, then Hampton on the sort of the funkiness charts, shall we say. But that's lovely. It's got some sweet apricot, some melon, apple, vanilla, a little bit of wood smoke. It's just so complex. And there's just enough of the funkiness. It's not going to whack you around the head with funkiness. Now, it is £158 a bottle, and but you know what? I think that's worth every penny. I mean, stunning, amazingly good. Let's see what the pass like. Really kicks off with some lovely fruit, fleshy apricot, banana, and that fruitiness is just again a bit like the previous bottling is just underpinning everything. It's got that little bit of funk, that high ester note, that sort of green, astringent, citric, herbal funkiness, a little bit of potpourri, some burnt wood, some spice, some licorice, a little bit of vanilla. Unbelievably good, stunning rum, it has to be said. You know, it's just got the right level of funkiness. Like I said, it's not kind of too Hampton-y. It's just edging into the sort of like the Hampton end of the funk. You know, Worthy Park, like I said, tends to have a little bit more, but you know, I've often found that Monymusk is just such a wonderful spirit, and just has enough of the funkiness to make it interesting, but not too much to make you want to go, dear God, what the hell's this? Absolutely stunning. Doesn't need any water. 48.7%. Yeah, I don't feel the need to stick any water. Well, all right, I've got a little bit left in the glass. I'll put a little drop of water with it. I have done with all the rest of them, so I may as well carry on that way. Let's possibly emphasise the funkiness, the herbalness, the fruitiness has possibly dropped off a little bit. But aside from that, again, there's no real change to the nose. Possibly a bit more oak. I'm getting a little bit more coconutty oak now. Let's see what pass up. Again, no real change. It's still got that sort of lovely balance of fruit and funk. It's a little bit potpourri-esque, more potpourri kind of on the finish, sort of spicy potpourri, rose petal, dried rose petal, that kind of thing. Personally, again, I think I would drink that neat. I don't think you need to put any water with it. But my God, that's amazing. That's stunning. That is a good rum. Right, okay, so let's sum today's episodes up. Firstly, a big thank you to Victoria at Dram Mor, and to Jane at House of Macduff for the samples for today's episode of the show. Very much appreciated having them sent, and obviously appreciate having you guys along for the ride. So, the diamond, yeah, I really like that. Like I said, it was kind of came across as probably the off the column stills, so light, sort of sultanery dried fruit, really lovely intensity, great price, more than happy with that. The Guatemala, a little bit darker, a little bit woodier, a little bit spicier, and a lovely sort of difference. You know, this is the wonderful thing about rum. You know, you've got all these different islands producing a different style of rum, and you've got all the different casks and different stills, and it's just got such a myriad of different potential flavour profiles, and it just goes to show how different these essentially, you know, the same spirits can be. Absolutely lovely, really very impressed. The Foursquare, the Dram Mor Foursquare, again, just absolute classic cask strength Foursquare. I mean, just really complex, lovely and woody, really very impressive, and unfortunately completely and utterly sold out now. But if you love Foursquare, then I have the 15. And like I said, all the ones that I really loved are available from a certain merchant, and obviously, as per usual, any comments that I have made today are wholly my own and have no bearing or relevance to the company that works for me, or that works for me, that I work for, I should say. But of course, that said company you can indeed purchase these spirits from, and I have to say that is a stunning bottling of Foursquare. Not cheap, I'll give you that, but stunning nevertheless. The Fijian, and I don't think it suffered from where it came in the lineup, because I had tasted it previously on its own, and it's a nice rum, but it's just not worth 115 quid at the end of the day. And that's just one of those kind of the reality of the situation, I suppose. The Port Morant from Guyana, again, classic Guyanan rum. Lovely age to it, but still loads and loads of character. Yeah, not cheap, but you know, it's just an absolute classic style. Got enough funkiness to sort of be intriguing, but not so much funkiness to want you to go, oh my god, I can't cope with this. And essentially you can say the same about the Moni Musk. It's kind of controlled funkiness, that sort of get down funkiness, as they say. Oh dear. No, it's just beautiful spirit at the end of the day. It just encapsulates the complexity of rum. Rum isn't just about sort of sweet dried fruits, molasses, treacle, that kind of stuff. You know, your average run-of-the-mill kind of coloured and caramel to hell stuff. This is the real McCoy. This is the nuts, as we say. And it gives you so much complexity for your pounds. That's all I can say. So yeah, absolutely stunning. So there you go, that's episode 500 in the bag. I personally think it's been really, really intriguing. If you live in and around Nottingham and you would like to taste some of these, then there is a rum night coming up at some stage in the near future, and I didn't look to see the exact date, but if you go on a certain company's website you'll find out where it is. You may well be fortunate enough to taste one of these if I have stock still remaining at that time. If not, just do yourself a favour and just buy a bottle, you know, why not, you know, they're really good. I have no juice left, so all that's left to say is hopefully you'll stick around for the next 500 episodes of the show. I'll probably be a lot greyer and a lot more wrinkly by the time we get to the next one, the episode 1000. But anyway, all that's left to say is good afternoon and good rap.